My sister told me to get a real job. 3 hours later, I canceled the $4,200 in monthly transfers that had been funding her entire life. The rent, the car payment, the credit cards, the student loans she'd somehow convinced me were temporary help. All of it gone with 6 clicks and a confirmation email I saved in triplicate. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The ambush happened at Marcello's, the kind of upscale Italian restaurant where the menu doesn't list prices and the waitstaff refill your water glass before you realize it's empty. Crystal chandeliers cast warm light across white tablecloths. The air smelled of fresh basil, expensive wine, and the particular brand of perfume my mother only wore when she wanted to impress people. Somewhere in the kitchen, something was being flambéed. I heard the soft whoosh of ignition, followed by polite applause from a nearby table. Mom's 60th birthday. 12 family members crowded around 2 tables pushed together in the private dining room. Aunts, uncles, cousins I saw once a year at obligatory gatherings. And Cassie, my younger sister, held court at the center, exactly where she always positioned herself. At 28, Cassie had perfected the Instagram influencer aesthetic. Designer dress that probably cost more than my monthly grocery budget, hair styled in those effortless waves that require an hour and a professional, and a wine glass tilted at precisely the right angle for candid photography. Her BMW key fob sat on the table next to her phone, positioned like a prop. Subtle, always subtle. "So, what are you working on these days?" Aunt Christine asked me, her tone suggesting she was fulfilling a social obligation rather than expressing genuine interest. Before I could answer, Cassie laughed. Not a quiet chuckle, a full, performative laugh designed to draw attention. "Oh, she's still doing her little graphic design thing," Cassie said, making air quotes with her manicured fingers. The candlelight caught her ring, not an engagement ring, just an expensive piece of jewelry she'd bought herself and photographed extensively. Playing around with Canva, making logos for people's Etsy shops. "It's a bit more than that," I said quietly. "Is it though?" Cassie leaned back in her chair, warming to her audience. "When are you going to stop playing with Canva and get a real career? You're 31, not 21. Uncle Mark chuckled. Dad focused intently on his risotto. Mom reached over to pat Cassie's hand, a small gesture of solidarity that spoke volumes. "Freelancing is just unemployment with a laptop," Cassie continued, her voice rising slightly. She was playing to the room now, enjoying herself. "I mean, I'm not judging, but at some point you have to think about health insurance, retirement, stability, real things that actual jobs provide." My cousin Sarah looked uncomfortable. Aunt Christine nodded sympathetically in Cassie's direction. "Cassie works in pharmaceutical sales," Mom interjected, redirecting the conversation to safer ground. "She's doing so well. The company gave her a bonus last quarter." I watched Cassie's face light up at the praise, watched her launch into a story about landing a major account, watched the family lean in with genuine interest. The golden child, performing as expected. I sipped my water, still or sparkling, the waiter had asked, and I'd chosen still because it was free, and felt something shift inside me. Not rage. Rage is inefficient, impulsive, messy. What I felt was clarity. I cataloged each insult like line items on an expense report. The little graphic design thing. The Canva dismissal. The unemployment comparison. Filed away under. Public humiliation, mother's birthday, 12 witnesses. What Cassie didn't know, what none of them knew, was that my little graphic design thing was a SaaS business I'd built from scratch. Project management software for freelancers and small creative agencies. Annual profit after expenses, $180,000 and climbing. I had 17 employees on contract, 4,000 active subscribers, and a feature article coming out in Entrepreneur magazine next month. I kept my business quiet for precisely this reason. The moment my family knew I had money, I'd become their personal ATM. Oh wait, I already was. The irony settled over me like a blanket. For 3 years, I'd been covering Cassie's rent because her salary somehow never stretched far enough. I'd co-signed her lease. I'd paid her car insurance when she was between commission checks. I'd quietly transferred money every month while she posted photos from expensive brunches and boutique shopping trips, building a life that looked successful to everyone who didn't see the bank statements. And here she was, mocking my fake job at a birthday dinner where I'd contributed $200 toward Mom's gift, while Cassie brought a $30 candle she'd probably gotten free as a promotional sample. "Excuse me," I said, standing smoothly. "I need to use the restroom." No one looked up except the waiter, who nodded politely. I walked past the bar, past the couple taking a selfie with their tiramisu, past the sommelier explaining vintage years to a table of tourists. In the bathroom, I locked myself in a stall and pulled out my phone. My banking app glowed in the dim light. 3 years of automated transfers scheduled to process tomorrow morning. Rent, $1,800. Car payment, $600. Credit card minimums, $450. Student loan, $700. Insurance, $400. Gym membership, $250. And that didn't include the Venmo emergencies that spiked unpredictably, $400 one month, $2,000 the next. I had phone calls to make. The phone calls could wait. First, I needed to remember exactly how I'd gotten here, standing outside an Italian restaurant while my sister mocked the business that had been funding her entire existence. I walked to my car, a modest Honda Civic I'd bought outright 3 years ago. No payments, no debt, just clean, uncomplicated ownership. I sat in the driver's seat but didn't start the engine. Instead, I opened my phone and pulled up my banking app. The automated transfers were scheduled like clockwork. Tomorrow morning, the money would move from my account to hers, the same way it had moved every month for 30 months. 3 years since she'd moved into that apartment. 30 months since I'd started paying for it. The numbers sat in my chest like a stone. The first ask, it started with a phone call on a Tuesday afternoon in March, 3 years ago. Cassie had been 25, fresh out of grad school with a marketing degree and big dreams about city living. I'd been building my SaaS business, TaskFlow project management software for freelance creatives, slowly, carefully, watching it grow from side hustle to actual income. "My application got denied," Cassie had said, her voice thick with tears. "The apartment is perfect. 2 bedrooms in the arts district, exposed brick, the kind of place where I could really network, you know? But the landlord wants a cosigner because I don't have enough employment history." I'd been reviewing code on my laptop. Can Mom and Dad cosign? Their credit isn't great. You know that? A pause perfectly timed. "You're so good with money, your credit score is probably amazing. Could you just help me out, just the cosigning part? I'll handle all the rent myself." She'd used those exact words, just the cosigning part. I should have said no. A business owner understands liability. Cosigning meant I was on the hook if she couldn't pay. But she was my little sister, and I'd spent our childhood protecting her from bullies and bad decisions. So I signed. The escalation. The first 6 months, Cassie paid her rent on time. I watched from a distance, proud of her independence. She posted photos of her apartment on Instagram, tasteful shots of her morning coffee on the windowsill, her desk set up with a laptop and succulent, captions about adulting and dream apartment. Then came July. Month 7. A text at 11 p.m. "Hey, quick question, any chance you could spot me this month's rent? Commission check got delayed and landlord won't accept late payment. I'll pay you back as soon as it clears. $1,800. The arts district didn't come cheap." I transferred it. She sent back 3 heart emojis and "You're a lifesaver. Best sister ever. Red, 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 August. Same request. Same excuse. Different emoji combination. Also in August. "The BMW dealer has this amazing lease deal, but I need help with the first payment. I need a reliable car for client meetings. $600. September, car payment again, plus insurance, $1,000 total. By month 12, I'd stopped expecting repayment. The word loan had quietly disappeared from her vocabulary, replaced by help. As in, can you help with rent again? I run a business. I track every expense. It's not paranoia, it's accounting. So I knew exactly when the requests expanded. Month 13, Capital One is threatening to close my card if I don't make the minimum. $450. I know I keep asking, but I swear things will stabilize soon. Month 14, grace period ended on my student loans, and Nelnit wants $700 a month. I can't swing that on top of everything else. Just until I get promoted. The promotion never came. The payments continued. The burn rate asterisk by year 2, I was hemorrhaging $3,950 per month. Rent $1,800. Car payment $600. Credit card minimums $450. Insurance $400. Student loans $700. My business was doing well. TaskFlow had 4,000 subscribers at $15 a month. After expenses and contractor payments, I cleared about $180,000 annually. I could afford it. That's what I told myself every time I approved another transfer. She's my little sister. Family helps family. By year 2, the gym membership had been added to the list. It's only $250 a month, but it's where all the pharmaceutical reps network. I need it for my career. By month 30, I was covering $4,200 in scheduled transfers alone. Plus emergency, Venmo requests that averaged another $1,300 monthly. Dental work, car repairs, medical bills, always something urgent, always something that couldn't wait. I opened my spreadsheet, the one I'd been maintaining since month 7, when my business instincts overrode my sisterly guilt. The numbers glowed on my phone screen in the dark car. Financial support, Cassie Morgan, 30 months. Category total, rent assistance, $54,000. Car payments, $18,000. Credit card minimums, $13,500. Student loan payments, $11,900. Insurance premiums, $12,000. Gym membership, $6,000. Emergency, transfers, $40,600. Total, $156,000. $156,000. That was a down payment on a house. That was a year of financial freedom. That was the exact amount I'd poured into my sister's life while she built an Instagram persona as a successful, independent woman. The public versus private ledger asterisk, I scrolled through Cassie's Instagram feed. The algorithm offered up her carefully curated highlight reel. Last week, brunch at Perch, $47 avocado toast and champagne. Caption, Sunday self-care clinking glasses, you deserve to treat yourself. 3 days ago, unboxing video of a Gucci handbag. Caption, worked hard for this moment. #self-made boss babe. This morning, professional headshot with the BMW in the background. Caption, pharmaceutical sales isn't for everyone, but I love the hustle. Success tastes sweet when you earn it yourself. Earn it herself. Every photo was a lie I'd financed. The designer handbag. I'd sent her $2,100 for emergency dental work that same week. The BMW, I'd been covering the payments for 30 months straight. The Sunday brunch, paid for with the credit card I'd given her access to, the one where she was an authorized user on my account with an $8,500 limit. She wasn't successful. She was subsidized. And tonight, in front of 12 family members, she told me to get a real job. The decision point, I sat in my car, phone glowing, spreadsheet displaying the mathematical proof of my exploitation. The restaurant windows glowed warm behind me. Inside, my family was probably ordering dessert, laughing, celebrating Mom's birthday, without a second thought about the daughter who'd stepped outside. The one with the fake job. The one whose automated transfer would process in 9 hours, sending another $4,200 to maintain Cassie's lifestyle for 1 more month. I thought about the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to continue investing in something because you've already invested so much, even when the return will never come. It's a trap that kills businesses. You throw good money after bad, hoping the past investment will somehow validate itself. I'd been committing the sunk cost fallacy for 30 months, not with a business, with my sister. But that night at Mom's birthday, sitting in my car with $156,000 worth of evidence glowing on my phone screen, something shifted. Not rage. Rage is inefficient, impulsive, messy. What I felt was clarity. The kind of clarity that comes when you finally stop lying to yourself about what's sustainable and what's simply slow motion collapse. I had a choice. keep being the ATM, or shut down the account. I started the engine, pulled out of the parking lot, and drove home. I had phone calls to make and a financial infrastructure to dismantle. I drove home in silence. No music, no podcasts. Just the hum of the engine and the clarity that comes from finally seeing the truth. My apartment was exactly as I'd left it, modest, organized, paid for in full. 1 bedroom. A kitchen table that doubled as my desk. Plants on the windowsill that I actually watered. No designer furniture financed by someone else's labor. Just mine. 11:47 p.m. I made coffee. Strong, black, the kind that fuels late-night work sessions when a product launch is imminent or a bug needs fixing. Then I opened my laptop. The screen glowed in the dark apartment, casting blue light across my hands. My banking portal loaded. I stared at the scheduled transfers section, tomorrow morning's automated payments queued like clockwork. Rent, $1,800. Car payment, $600. Credit cards, $450. Student loans, $700. Insurance, $400. Gym, $250. $4,200 in scheduled transfers. Plus whatever emergency Venmo request would inevitably arrive this week. I wasn't angry. Anger is inefficient, reactive, clouded. What I felt was the cold precision of a system administrator removing unauthorized access. Step 1. Terminate automated clearinghouse transfers. I clicked into my bank's bill pay portal. The interface asked me to select which payments to cancel. I selected all of them, every single recurring transfer to Cassie Morgan. Are you sure you want to cancel these scheduled payments? Yes. Confirmation screenshot. Saved. Step 2. Revoke authorized user status. My credit card portal was clinical, impersonal. I navigated to manage authorized users. Cassie's name sat there, the card I'd given her with an $8,500 limit that she'd been using for brunches and handbags. Remove user. This will immediately deactivate all cards associated with this user. Continue. Continue. Her card would decline the next time she tried to use it. I wondered briefly where that would be. A restaurant? A boutique? I didn't care. Step 3. Notify property management of cosigner withdrawal. I drafted an email to her property management company. Professional, cordial, clear about my intentions. Dear Sunset Towers Management, I am writing to formally notify you of my intent to withdraw as cosigner for Unit 4B, tenant Cassie Morgan, effective at the next lease renewal. Per our original agreement, I provided co-signature contingent on tenant's demonstrated payment reliability. After 30 months of primary financial responsibility, I am exercising my right to terminate cosigner obligations. Please note that I will not be responsible for any lease violations or unpaid rent going forward, and I request written confirmation of this notice. Please direct all future lease matters exclusively to the primary tenant. Regards, my full legal name, send. The lease renewal was in 45 days. She'd have to qualify on her own income or find somewhere she could actually afford. Step 4. Cease vehicle financing contributions. BMW Financial's portal was surprisingly easy to navigate. I found the section for authorized payment accounts, removed my bank information from Cassie's loan number. Done. The car payment was due in 12 days. She'd get a notice, then a warning. Then, if the pattern held, a repossession order. That wasn't my problem anymore. Step 5. Stop student loan payments. Nelnet asked me to confirm I wanted to remove my payment method from account number ending in 7734. Confirmed. Step 6. Disable future Venmo transfers. No scheduled payments here, but I blocked her account. She could request. I wouldn't receive the notification. The entire process took 43 minutes. 43 minutes to dismantle 30 months of financial infrastructure. I leaned back in my chair, coffee gone cold, and opened Excel. The evidence archive, I created a new spreadsheet. Cassie Financial Support 2021-2024. XLSX, Tab 1, Summary. Total payments, $156,000. Tab 2, Monthly Breakdown. A graph showing the escalation from $1,800 in month 7 to $5,500 average by month 30. The line climbed like a fever chart. Tab 3, rent transfers, 30 rows, $1,800 each. Source, my savings account. Destination, Sunset Towers Property Management. Tab 4, car payments, 30 rows. $600 each, every single confirmation number documented. Tab 5, credit card charges. Statements showing what she'd spent on the authorized user card I'd given her, brunches, handbags, spa treatments, things she posted on Instagram. Tab 6, student loans. 17 months of $700 monthly payments. That was $11,900 in graduate school debt I'd paid for a degree in marketing she barely used. Tab 7, insurance, gym, miscellaneous, the small bleeds that added up. Tab 8, screenshots. Venmo transactions with her messages. You're a lifesaver. Red, best sister ever, 2 hearts. I'll pay you back soon, promise? Color-coded. Red for rent, blue for car, green for credit cards, yellow for student loans. Pivot tables showing annual totals. Year 1, $32,400. Year 2, $58,200. Year 3 on pace for $65,400. A 30-month trend line showing unsustainable burn rate. I exported it as a PDF. Then I backed up everything. Cloud storage, external hard drive, email to myself with the subject line, CASSIE do not delete. 127 bank transfer confirmations, 43 Venmo transactions, 89 text message screenshots of requests for money. The co-signed lease agreement showing the salary she'd claimed, $85,000, nearly double her actual base pay. The spreadsheet, everything. I set a calendar reminder for 5 days from now. That's when her rent would be due, when the landlord would notice the payment never arrived. When she'd realize the money had stopped, she'd find out the same way I found out I was her personal bank, without warning. The clock on my laptop read 2:47 a.m. I closed the screen. The apartment fell into darkness. I didn't feel guilty. I didn't feel vindictive. I felt the same satisfaction I felt when I debugged a critical error in my code, the quiet competence of fixing something that was fundamentally broken. I climbed into bed and slept soundly for the first time in months. By sunrise, the financial infrastructure of her life would begin to crumble. And I would be having coffee. 5 days later, I was having that coffee. It was a Tuesday morning. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open to TaskFlow's dashboard, reviewing user metrics from the overnight server logs. My phone sat face up next to my mug. At 9:15 a.m., it vibrated. CASSIE Morgan missed call. I let it go to voicemail. Took a sip of coffee. Waited. The notification appeared 30 seconds later. I tapped play, put it on speaker, and returned to my metrics. Voicemail 1, day 5, 9:15 a.m. Hey, I think there was a banking error. The rent didn't go through. Can you check your account? The landlord just sent me a notice, and I'm sure it's just a glitch, but can you call me back? Thanks. Her voice was casual, breezy, slightly inconvenienced. I saved the voicemail. Went back to my coffee. She called 3 more times that day. I didn't answer. Each voicemail landed in my archive like evidence being filed. Voicemail 2, day 5, 2:47 p.m. Okay, this is getting serious. The landlord is saying the payment bounced. I checked with my bank and there's nothing from you. What's going on? Call me. The breezy tone was gone. This was concern. Voicemail 3, day 6, 10:22 a.m. I tried to use my card at Starbucks this morning and it declined. The one you gave me. Did something happen to your account? Are you okay? Please call me back. She still thought this was a mistake, still assumed the money would resume once the error was fixed. Voicemail 4, day 6, 4:32 p.m. This isn't funny. The landlord is calling me now. Did I do something wrong? Are you mad about something? Just talk to me, please. Panic was setting in. I watched the collapse unfold the way I'd watch business metrics during a server crash, with clinical interest and no intention of intervening. Day 8 arrived with mathematical precision. My phone lit up at 11:47 p.m. I was in bed reading. Cassie's name flashed across the screen. Declined. Voicemail 5, day 8, 11:47 p.m. My car is gone. It was TOWED, from the office parking lot. in front of everyone. I have a client meeting tomorrow and I don't have a car. This is insane. Call me back. The repossession, right on schedule. I could picture it, the tow truck backing into the pharmaceutical company's lot, her coworkers watching from the windows, Cassie's face as she ran out in her heels and designer dress, helpless. I turned off my bedside lamp and went asleep. Day 10 brought the credit card decline. I didn't hear about it from Cassie directly. I saw it on Instagram first, a story she'd posted and then deleted within 7 minutes. But I'd screenshot it. A photo of mimosas and avocado toast posted at 11:23 a.m. Caption, Sunday self-care with my girls clinking sparkles deleted at 11:30 a.m. What happened in those 7 minutes? She tried to pay with the card I'd given her, the authorized user card I deactivated 10 days ago. Declined on a $347 brunch tab. I knew because a mutual friend texted me. Is Cassie okay? She seemed really flustered at brunch. Had to call someone to Venmo her money for the bill. I didn't respond. Voicemail 6, day 10, 3:15 p.m. I don't know what game you're playing, but this is affecting my life. My actual life. I can't pay my bills. My card isn't working. I have late notices piling up. You can't just abandon me like this. Abandon? Interesting word choice. Day 10 also brought the smear campaign. Instagram story, screenshot saved. Sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who want to see you fail broken heart learning hard lessons about who's really in your corner. Facebook post, screenshot saved. You never really know your family until money gets involved. Disappointed but not surprised. She was building her narrative. Poor Cassie, victimized by her cruel, jealous sister. My phone rang. Mom, I let it go to voicemail. Sweetheart, Cassie called me in tears. She says you've cut her off completely. I don't understand what happened. Can you please call her? She's beside herself. Whatever this is about, can't you two work it out? She's your sister. Dad called an hour later. Rare for him. Your sister says you cut her off without any warning. That seems extreme, don't you think? I know you two have your differences, but this is family. Give her a call? Aunt Christine texted, money isn't worth losing your sister over. Family is forever. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I opened my documentation folder and created a new subfolder, post-cutoff responses. Every voicemail got transcribed and timestamped. Every social media post got screenshot with metadata. Every family member's message got saved. Cassie was building her case. So was I. Voicemail 7, day 12, 2:18 a.m. This one woke me up. My phone vibrated on the nightstand, harsh and insistent. I let it record. You're a fucking psycho. You know that? You can't just ruin my life because you're jealous that I'm successful and you're still playing with your little website thing. This is financial abuse. I could lose my apartment. I could be homeless. And you don't even have the decency to answer the phone. You're a coward and a terrible sister, and I hope you're happy with yourself. Her voice was raw, venomous. The mask had finally slipped. I saved it, the centerpiece of my evidence collection. Day 14 brought the eviction warning. I didn't see it, but I knew it arrived because my phone exploded with messages. Cassie text, late notice, 5 days to pay or vacate proceedings begin. Are you happy now? Mom call, please just talk to her. This has gone too far. Mutual friend text, Cassie posted that she's being evicted. What happened between you two? I watched the infrastructure collapse in real time. The rent, the car, the credit, the apartment, each pillar falling exactly as predicted. This wasn't revenge. This was a controlled demolition. And then, day 15. A text from Mom, family meeting. Sunday, 3 p.m. our house. Both of you need to be there. This has to be resolved. Followed immediately by Cassie, I hope you're ready to explain yourself in front of the whole family. She wanted an audience. She wanted witnesses for her victimhood performance. Fine, I'd give her one. I opened my laptop and pulled up the spreadsheet. 30 months of documentation. $156,000 in receipts. 127 bank transfers. 43 Venmo transactions. 89 text message requests. And now, 7 voicemails showing the complete arc from casual confusion to entitled rage. I printed everything. Color-coded. Tabbed, professional. Sunday, 3 p.m. She wanted to resolve this. I'd bring receipts. Sunday, 3 p.m. I pulled into my parents' driveway. The leather portfolio sat on my passenger seat. 8 pages. 30 months of evidence. Printed, color-coded, tabbed, professional. I picked it up and walked to the door. My mother answered before I could knock. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her expression a mixture of disappointment and concern that I'd seen 1,000 times, always directed at me, never at Cassie. "She's devastated," Mom whispered as I stepped inside. "Please just try to understand." I said nothing, walked past her into the dining room. They were arranged like a jury. Cassie at the head of the table, flanked by Mom and Dad on one side, Aunt Julie and Uncle Mark on the other. 6 chairs, 5 occupied. 1 empty, mine, positioned at the far end, facing Cassie. Cassie looked the part. No makeup, hair pulled back, red eyes, tissue in hand. The picture of someone wronged. I sat down, placed the portfolio in front of me, folded my hands over it. Cassie took a shaky breath. She just stopped, she began, her voice wavering. No warning, no conversation. She cut me off completely. I stayed silent. My car was repossessed at work. Her voice cracked. In front of my boss, in front of my colleagues, do you know how humiliating that is? Uncle Mark shifted uncomfortably. Aunt Julie's face softened with sympathy. I could lose my apartment, Cassie continued, tears starting to fall. I could be homeless, and she won't even answer my calls. She doesn't care that I'm her sister. She doesn't care that I'm. She broke off, wiping her eyes. We're sisters. Family is supposed to support each other. Not financially abuse each other like this. Mom reached over and squeezed Cassie's hand, then she looked at me. How could you? Mom's voice was quiet but sharp. How could you do this to her? I let the silence sit for a moment. Let Cassie think she'd won the room, then I opened the portfolio. I'd like to show you something. I pulled out 6 copies of the spreadsheet, slid them across the table, 1 to each person. This is a record of every payment I made to or on behalf of Cassie over the last 30 months. The room went still. Dad picked up his copy. His eyes scanned the first page, the summary table with the number at the bottom. $156,000, I said quietly. That's the total. Aunt Julie's hand went to her mouth. This says, $156,000. Turn to page 2, I continued, my voice steady, clinical. You'll see the monthly breakdown. Notice the escalation. Month 7, $1,800 for rent. Month 8, add the car payment and insurance. By month 30, I was transferring over $5,500 monthly. Pages rustled. I watched their faces as they processed the numbers. Pages 3 and 4, I said. Rent transfers, $1,800 per month for 30 consecutive months. That's $54,000. The lease is in Cassie's name, but I co-signed and covered every payment after month 6. Dad looked up at Cassie. You haven't paid your own rent in 2.5 years? Cassie's face flushed. I was going to pay her back. Page 5, I interrupted calmly. Car payments, $600 per month for 30 months. Insurance, $400 monthly. That BMW she drives to client meetings, I've been paying for it since she signed the lease. Uncle Mark was flipping through the pages, his expression shifting from confusion to something harder. Page 6 details student loan payments I made on her behalf. $700 per month for 17 months. That's $11,900 for a graduate degree in marketing. Mom's hand had dropped from Cassie's. She was staring at the spreadsheet, her mouth slightly open. Pages 7 and 8, I said, are screenshots. Venmo transactions with Cassie's messages, text requests for money, credit card statements showing what she charged to the authorized user card I gave her, each transaction documented. Aunt Julie read aloud softly, "Rent help, you're a lifesaver." She looked up. There are heart emojis. 43 Venmo transactions, I confirmed. 89 text message requests over 30 months, all saved. Cassie's tissue was forgotten in her hand, her tears had stopped. Those were loans, she said, her voice rising. I was going to pay you back. I looked at her directly for the first time since sitting down. Where's the loan agreement? Silence. The repayment schedule? The interest rate? Any documentation that these were loans and not gifts. Cassie's jaw clenched. Family doesn't keep score like this. You're right, I said softly. Which is why I never mentioned it, not once in 30 months, not at birthdays, not at Christmas, not at Mom's 60th birthday 2 weeks ago. I paused, until you told me to get a real job. The call back landed, Mom's eyes widened slightly. Dad looked down at the spreadsheet again, his face pale. You stood in front of 12 family members, I continued, my voice still calm, still controlled, and mocked my work, called it playing with Canva, said freelancing was unemployment with a laptop, told me to get a real career. Cassie opened her mouth, closed it. While I was doing that, I said, I was clearing $180,000 a year running a software company, and I was spending over $5,500 of it every month keeping your life afloat. Uncle Mark let out a low whistle. Where did you think the money was coming from? I asked the room. Nobody answered. Page 8, I added. The cosign lease agreement. Notice the income Cassie reported to the landlord, $85,000 annual salary. Dad squinted at the page. Her base salary is $44,000. I've seen her pay stubs. She inflated her income to qualify for the apartment, I said, knowing I'd cover the difference when her actual salary couldn't. Cassie's face went from flushed to white. I didn't, she stammered. You did, I said, and I have the documentation. Cassie tried again. This is still, you cut me off without any warning, that's financial abuse. I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. Since we're discussing financial abuse, I said, I'd like you to hear something. I scrolled to voicemail 7. Set the phone in the center of the table. Tapped play. Cassie's voice filled the dining room, loud and raw and venomous. You're a fucking psycho. You know that? You can't just ruin my life because you're jealous that I'm successful and you're still playing with your little website thing. This is financial abuse. I could lose my apartment. I could be homeless. And you don't even have the decency to answer the phone. You're a coward and a terrible sister, and I hope you're happy with yourself. The silence that followed was absolute. Mom stared at the phone like it had bitten her. Dad's face had gone from pale to red. Aunt Julie looked between me and Cassie, her expression shifting to something like understanding. Cassie, Mom said quietly. I was upset. Cassie's face was crimson now. I was panicking and, you were entitled, I said. I stood up, gathered my portfolio. I didn't cut you off without warning, I said to the room. I stopped enabling her. There's a difference. I left the spreadsheets on the table. You can keep those copies. I have backups. I looked at each of them in turn, saved Cassie for last. If any of you would like to take over the $4,200 in monthly payments, I'm sure Cassie would appreciate it. Nobody spoke. I walked to the door. My hand on the knob, I turned back one last time. Help is temporary, I said. What you wanted was a permanent ATM. I walked out, closed the door quietly behind me, got in my car, started the engine. Through the dining room window, I could see them, still sitting, still holding the spreadsheets, Cassie's head in her hands. I drove away. The evidence spoke for itself. 2 weeks later, I heard through Aunt Julie that Cassie had moved back in with our parents. 28 years old, sleeping in her childhood bedroom, surrounded by high school cheerleading trophies and participation ribbons. The BMW went back to the dealership. She drove Mom's old Honda Accord now, the one with the fading bumper sticker and 140,000 miles on it. Her Instagram account disappeared. 4,000 followers gone. Without constant luxury content to post, the engagement had died. The algorithm is unforgiving to people whose entire brand is a lifestyle they can't afford. She gave 30-day notice on the Arts District apartment before the eviction proceedings could begin. Moved to a studio in a less trendy neighborhood. $950 a month, finally affordable on her actual pharmaceutical sales salary. Her credit score tanked from 720 to 580. Missed payments and defaults will do that. I knew all this not because I asked, but because family members kept calling me. Mom called first. We had no idea she was. Relying on you that much, she said, her voice careful, measured. Maybe you were both wrong, maybe there's a way to work this out. I wasn't wrong, I said calmly. I was enabling her. Those are different things. But you could have told us instead of just stopping. I let the silence sit for a moment. I did tell you, I said. Every birthday when she posted designer bags while I paid her rent. Every Christmas when she traveled to Cabo while I covered her car payment. You didn't want to see it. More silence. We assumed she was doing well, Dad said. He'd been on the call too, quiet until now. She was, I replied, on $156,000 of my money. They didn't call back. Uncle Mark did, though. Separate call, different tone. What you did took guts, he said. She needed that wake-up call. Hell, we all did. I appreciated that. 3 weeks after the family meeting, my phone buzzed at 11:34 p.m. A text from Cassie. I'm sorry, you were right. I took advantage. I don't expect you to forgive me, but I'm sorry. I read it twice. Felt nothing, no anger, no vindication, just acknowledgement that she'd finally seen it. I didn't respond. Saved the screenshot. Closed my phone. Some apologies don't require answers. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. TaskFlow hit $220,000 in annual profit, up $40,000 from the previous year. I hired 2 contractors, a developer to help scale the platform and a customer success manager to handle the growing client base. We were featured in an industry newsletter, Small Business Tool of the Month. I moved to a 2-bedroom apartment in a better neighborhood. Finally had a proper home office, a balcony with plants I actually watered. Morning coffee watching the sunrise instead of staring at spreadsheets calculating someone else's burn rate. My savings account showed $47,000. No longer hemorrhaging $5,500 every month will do that. I even started dating. Nothing serious, but someone who respected my work, who asked about my business with genuine interest, who never once asked me for money. Cassie's trajectory ran parallel to mine, moving in a different direction. She got a new job, medical device sales, less glamorous than pharmaceuticals, lower commission structure, but stable base salary. She could actually budget around it. She texted me occasionally, every 4 to 6 weeks, never asking for money, just updates. Paid off my first credit card, $2,100. Took 5 months, got a budgeting app, wish I'd done this years ago. Saw your company featured in the newsletter, proud of you. I responded briefly, warmly, but maintained the boundary. That's great progress. Keep it up. No resumption of financial support, no emotional labor. Just acknowledgement that she was learning to stand on her own. One evening, I sat at my home office desk. Evening light filtered through the window, painting the room in shades of amber and gold. My laptop displayed TaskFlow's dashboard, profit margins trending up, client acquisition steady, system stability at 99.7%. The coffee cup next to my keyboard steamed gently. Good coffee. Expensive beans from a local roaster, bought without guilt. My phone buzzed. Cassie, signed a lease, my name only, no cosigner, I did it. I smiled slightly, typed back, congratulations, that's a big step. Returned to my laptop. People ask if I regret cutting her off. I don't. She didn't need my money. She needed to learn that real jobs aren't measured by prestige, they're measured by whether you can pay your own rent, whether you can stand on your own 2 feet. Whether your lifestyle matches your actual income, not someone else's subsidies. I didn't ruin her life. I stopped building it for her. And the funniest part? My fake job, the one she mocked in front of our entire family at Mom's 60th birthday, just cleared $220,000 this year. She works in sales. I work in freedom. I'd say I won, but that implies there was ever a competition. There wasn't. There was just a woman who finally chose herself.